This is a man from Flint, Michigan, who went to Washington on January 6, 2021, and while he was there, he physically attacked police officers at the U.S. Capitol. That Michigan man armed with that bat, that weapon that he was using to try to smash police officers in the face and in the head. He was ultimately arrested. He was charged with assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain police officers, inflicting bodily injury, meaning he hurt the police officers he was attacking. He pled guilty. He's currently in federal prison, serving a sentence of more than 4 years. President-elect Donald Trump has repeatedly said that he wants to pardon the people who were convicted of crimes for the attack on Congress on January 6, 2021. This weekend, NBC News' Kristen Welker asked Trump what he specifically intends to do about people like that Michigan guy, about people who were convicted specifically of assaulting police officers. Kristen Welker, quote, 169 of them have pled guilty to assaulting police officers. Trump, because they had no choice. Welker, but you're going to consider pardoning even those who pled guilty to crimes, including assaulting police officers? Trump, well, sometimes they say, here's your choice. Welker, you're not ruling it out? Trump, look, I know the system. The system's a very corrupt system. So, yeah, apparently even those who attacked police officers. In that same interview, Trump also told Welker that he's looking forward to jailing people who he sees as his political enemies. President-elect Donald Trump said that he wants to jail members of Congress who carried out the bipartisan congressional investigation into the January 6th attack. He told NBC's Kristen Welker, quote, I think those people committed a major crime. Honestly, they should go to jail. In response to those comments from the president-elect, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who was vice chair of that investigation, she released this statement, which I think you might have heard. She released a statement. It's worth hearing it in full. She said this. Here's the truth. Donald Trump attempted to overturn the 2020 presidential election and seize power. He mobilized an angry mob and sent them to the United States Capitol, where they attacked police officers, invaded the building, and halted the official counting of electoral votes. Trump watched on television as police officers were brutally beaten and the Capitol was assaulted, refusing for hours to tell the mob to leave. Donald Trump knows his claims about the Select Committee are ridiculous and false. There's no conceivably appropriate factual or constitutional basis for what Donald Trump is suggesting, a Justice Department investigation of the work of a congressional committee. And any lawyer who attempts to pursue that course would quickly find themselves engaged in sanctionable conduct. Joining us now is California Democratic Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. She was a member of the House January 6th investigation. Representative Lofgren, it's a real pleasure to have you here tonight. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks. Glad to be here, Rachel.
Let me just start by asking your reaction to Trump's threats, to Trump's claim that he thinks that you and the other members of Congress who are part of the investigation should be jailed.
Well, it's absurd. Our committee was duly constituted. We worked really hard to do the job we were assigned to do, which was to uncover the events leading up to January 6th. We uncovered a wide-ranging plot with Trump at the center of that plot to essentially steal the election, to overturn it, culminating in his summoning a mob to Washington, knowing that they were armed, sending them down to the Capitol to stop the proceedings. More than 1,000 of those rioters have pled guilty. They did terrible things to police officers. They beat them. They sprayed them with chemicals. They tased them. Officers lost fingers, lost an eye, were permanently disabled. Go to the Department of Justice case files and read the summary of what these guys did, and that he would think about pardoning them while trying, in violation of the law and the Constitution, to somehow suggest that the legislative committee that did this work, that uncovered his unsavory role, was somehow in the wrong is ridiculous. Go to the government printing office. Take a look at the evidence. Everything we found is there. Read the transcripts. Take a look at the emails and the text messages we found. Listen to the radio traffic. This was a horrendous event that we uncovered for the American public. And, it's protected by the Constitution. Article 1, Section 6 says that the Congress, speech or debate clause, Congress cannot be questioned in any other place for our legislative work. So this threat is an empty one and really pretty ridiculous.
If it is an empty threat and he can't credibly threaten jail time, right, for members of Congress for having been part of this investigation, if that's something that he's going to threaten, but he's not going to be able to carry out, but he is going to be able to carry out the other side of this threat, which is to set free all the people who committed crimes and were convicted of crimes, even including violence, on January 6th. What do you think the effect of that will be on the country? What does that do to us as a polity, as a democracy, as a country? What does that do to us?
Trump is not a believer in the rule of law. We know that from all of his activities, and that you would pardon people who committed this violence, who were either convicted or pled guilty of really violent acts, really undercuts the rule of law. I mean, clemency is for people who have earned it. People, we see people who have mended their ways. Right now, we've got rioters in court saying that they don't care. Trump is going to pardon them anyhow. It's a really very destructive suggestion that we would pardon these criminals and try and threaten people who aren't criminals, the January 6th committee members.
Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren of California, I appreciate your time tonight. I'm implicitly sorry to ask you to come on to respond to these things, but I want your voice to be out there as loud as anyone's in telling this story. Thank you for being here.
Well, it's important that the committee let him know we're not going to be intimidated.
I hear you. The whole country hears you. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.